unfamiliar ceiling. Hey, come on! It's like 2-3 times tops! Leopard seals. Nano, you didn't use DG cells, did you? Woof. Them some tricksy proteins. So she's alright. Good. Thanks, Doc. Two of Dazaki Month here on Otaku Evolution. It's a smorgasbord of pastel freeze frames for everyone. This episode will be revisiting Osamu Tezuka's Blackjack, the doctor with miraculous skills, and a live-in loli made from an absorbed twin. You may recall that in my first year of Otaku Evolution, I covered the Blackjack movie. It was not one of my better videos, owing to not having a real microphone, but I'll be re-recording it in the future. It featured Dr. Blackjack trying to figure out why genetically altered athletes are degenerating. It turns out that they were doped with a drug called Endorph A by this scientist lady who wants to perfect the drug, so she drugs him with it at the cost of her also being drugged, and while she dies, he's saved by a random nomadic tribe who happen to have a holistic cure for it. And then there was some last-minute environmental message. Ugh. Look, I like the Blackjack movie. It looks great, Blackjack himself is interesting, and I find the medical mystery aspect likewise compelling. But the final act is lackluster. I mean, Blackjack is basically just a tourist in a movie about him. He has nothing to do with the resolution of the conflict. Most of the movie could have taken place without him. The Blackjack OVAs, however, by virtue of being several entries, have more chances for our scarred surgeon to show what he's made of. I'm only covering the first 2 episodes this time in my totally transparent effort to stretch this out for further content, but you should get a good taste based on these. As I said, there's more variety, but that isn't to say there isn't a certain formula underneath it. First, though, Blackjack gets a phone call.
I'm not in at the moment. If you are in need of medical attention, please leave your name, telephone number, nature of your complaint, seriousness of your condition, and how much you can afford to pay me.
At the beginning of each episode, we get the same glimpse into Blackjack's home life, but he spends most of his time trying to cure some crazy malady, often suffered by wealthy assholes who you want to see get their comeuppance in some way. Occasionally, such as in the first episode, they somewhat redeem themselves, like this gainly-looking old bastard here, Chairman Crossword, who suffers from terrible fits of pain and convulsions and has to continue drinking water to sate the agony. He also vomits water. I guess you could say he's a crossword puzzle. Crossword lives in this palatial estate on an island he grew up on and returned to, along with his wife, a former patient of our hero. Lady's also been banging her husband's assistant, this snarky jerk, who'd love to get his hands on Crossword's money. But Crossword himself is extremely grumpy and stingy, though I imagine I'd be in a bad mood too if I were suffering as he is. He makes Mr. Burns seem healthy.
Mr. Burns, I'm afraid you are the sickest man in the United States. You have everything. You mean I have pneumonia?
Yes.
Juvenile diabetes?
Yes.
Hysterical pregnancy?
A little bit, yes.
You never ask me how I feel. I keep forgetting the great Dr. Blackjack doesn't ask me how I feel, he tells me, doesn't he?
When Blackjack comes to the aid of a poor boy injured trying to steal from Crossword, he's told that many villagers nearby are suffering from the same illness. Blackjack travels to the town to investigate, finding the situation pretty dire. And the superstitious townspeople place the blame squarely on Old Man Logan, who they believe is cursing them somehow. When Blackjack returns to the castle, he finds Crossword's wife Sayori is having a troubled pregnancy. The woman tells him to prioritize the life of the embryo, but Blackjack refuses to let either be lost. Crossword decides to let Blackjack examine him when he has what will be a fatal episode, so that the doctor can learn all he can and cure it for others. But not knowing of their scapegoat's sacrifice, the villagers lay siege to the castle with the intention of killing those that dwell there. Even the arrogant asshole does what he can to save Sayori, sacrificing his own life. Blackjack, meanwhile, witnesses Crossword's dying convulsions, ready to record the data. The angry mob gets to the operating room, but their intended victim has already passed. And because of his volunteer actions, now Blackjack can make a cure. Blackjack has no patience for the unruly bunch, and solemnly carries out the man who had once been so contentious, now a noble figure in the end. The end. Ah, the good old accusatory Blackjack story. This one at least had some actual dimension to it, rather than taking out a moral at the end pointlessly like the movie did. Crossword, for all his cantankerous griping and success bragging, did truly love his wife and unborn child, and even cared for his community. Though I guess if you're being cynical, you can interpret this as apologia for the obscenely rich, the way it paints Crossword's nobility in the face of a superstitious, ugly public. Read what you'd like into it, but at least it's not propaganda like young Blackjack. There's actually solid characterization in both the patient and in Blackjack's determination to save as many as he can regardless of their class. And as usual, Dazaki adds his visual touchstones and trademark melodrama. It's a little cheesy, but very compelling. Most importantly, Blackjack actually does something that leads to the resolution of the plot. Our second Blackjack jaunt sees Blackjack on a stopover in a city before his flight home, where he reunites with a detective that used to try to bust him for operating without a license, and a young girl named Rie who he once did stitches for years earlier. Things haven't been going much better for her in the meantime, with the friend she was with the last time he saw her either dead, or in the latest case, in a coma. It's a desperate situation, but Blackjack is willing to extend his time in town to take a look at it. The hospital her friend is at is a well-staffed and equipped one privately owned by a hotshot who loves racing Formula One cars, but thinks the patient is helpless. So he's not happy about being contradicted by the enigmatic doctor, but our patchwork practitioner insists he can help the poor girl. Rie is quite grateful to the doc. A little too grateful.
Doctor? I hope you don't have the impression that I'm just a student in the bedroom, too, because I've graduated. Yeah. Good night.
Of course he turned her down. He's not some kind of creep who's into...
That's it! I've had it! Went through! I'm gonna date other guys! I give up!
Huh. I guess Rie is too old for him. But she has more than just a comatose friend. She has a bit of a monkey on her back in the form of a cactus drug habit? Is that a thing? Cacti can get you high?
Drink cactus juice. It'll quench you. Nothing's quenchier. It's the quenchiest.
Okay, I think you've had enough.
Huh. Took me 93 episodes to show a clip from Avatar: The Last Airbender. Weird. Anyway, Hotshot Doctor watches Blackjack operate on Rie's friend in his office, but Inspector Zenny Nada here drops in on him, basically just to troll him by implying he sucks compared to our hero. He does. 10 hours later, and Blackjack is still operating, without rest, on the patient, and the detective visits Rie. After some time, however, Blackjack is finished and finally lies down. It turns out that the detective is actually hovering around because he's investigating Dr. Racecar for drug trafficking on the side. But put a pin in that for now because Blackjack's patient is awake and Rie is by her bedside, ecstatic that her friend's recovering.
Look who's decided to wake up. You were in a deep sleep for quite a while there. I suppose I should say good morning to you. However, it's the late afternoon.
Do the Japanese just not eat apple skins? Huh. But while Rie is happy about her friend, she's still getting high as a kite on cactus, and confesses to Blackjack that her and her friends went on a hike and found the cacti, and started getting blazed on the reg, leading to an accident while high, a suicide, and a coma. Or at least that was what was reported. Turns out some very dangerous folks are quite protective of the plants, and they happen to be the same people Zenny Nada is investigating, including Dr. Racecar. Doc BJ, also the name of an A+ porn BT dubs, confronts Days of Thunder here over his participation in the drug racket. Meth Racer is indignant and clearly high as a kite. Before Blackjack can do anything, a different kind of angry mob than in the first episode arrives, and they're not too happy about outstanding debts. They drug both doctors and leave them in a burning mine full of the cacti as they're pulling up roots to operate elsewhere. And Blackjack is stoned out of his mind. Still, our hero managed to shake off the high through pain and gets the hotshot in himself out of the blaze before they blow up from a bomb planted. All's well that ends well, with Blackjack saying goodbye to Rie, telling her he'll come back someday. The end. Well, that was kind of an abrupt ending, huh? I mean, I guess technically things are wrapped up in that the other doctor was probably arrested, and Rie will probably get the help she needs for her drug problem, but the Mafia kind of just got away with killing two of Rie's friends. The drug cacti are never discussed in any later episodes, but at least Blackjack did something in this. I wonder if Pinocchio actually started dating other guys after this. Now that would be a disturbing Tinder profile. Anyway, the Blackjack OVA episodes are alright. I think they're more aesthetically pleasing than anything else, but it's always interesting to see what kind of BS Blackjack pulls out to cure any given illness. I'll cover more another time. But next week there's more Dazaki fun with a revisit with anime's most prolific assassin, Gogo 13. Until then, see ya!
It's called the Ultimus Fountain, Pinocchio. A priceless work of art that used to adorn the garden of the Helios Emperor.
Why isn't the water turned to steam, Mr. Rosenturk? I mean, those lovers are sizzling hot.
How old did you say you were, little lady?
I'm 18.
Huh?